there guys, it's Mallory from Hackley Public Library, and tonight we're going to be making a Ladybug Flower Pot. And the only things that we're going to be using are a 2-liter pop bottle. You're going to be using some paint and then also some glue at one point. Now, if you had registered for a craft kit, you would have received, or I should say you would have picked up some paint, a paintbrush, and some glue. Now, initially, I forgot to include some black paint with the color paint. So if you did register for a craft kit and you came and picked up your craft kit prior to there being black paint, you can feel free to come back to the library and pick up a little thing of black paint, and we'll provide that for you. But in the meantime, we'll show you how to make the craft using both the colored paint and the black paint. And then we're also going to be using scissors during this craft. Now, it's not essential, but if you can grab a cutting knife to start out, that would be a little bit helpful. So the first thing that we're going to do is take our 2-liter bottle here. I'm just going to take the cap off. This we do want to keep because we will be using it a little bit later. And then about halfway down the middle, we're going to use our knife and puncture it, and then we're going to end up cutting this in half with our scissors or the knife. And the bottom portion is going to be the flower pot. Okay, so now we have our pot bottle cut into 2 parts. So you can see the bottom portion here, this is going to be our flower pot. And then the top portion, we are actually going to use pieces from all over here. But the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut up to about where it starts to curve. So I'm going to take my scissors and cut to about here where it kind of starts to curve. But instead of continuing all the way up to the cap, I'm going to instead start cutting around. So then I'm going to cut this portion apart from this top portion. Okay, so now we have the 2 separate pieces. You can see this curved part, that's one, and then we have our top. And this top we're actually going to use to make the wings for the ladybug. So I'm going to set this over here for a minute. So now we're going to take the top portion here and we're going to cut around so that it leaves, just the top little part here and the cap separate from this round bottom part. And you might have to switch the way that you're cutting it because it's kind of hard to continue in one fluid motion all the way around. So I started to cut this part a little bit. You can see, and then I'm just going to start on this side and continue the cutting. Okay, so now I have my top portion here separated from this curved portion. See how it used to be like that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and cut this right down the middle here. So these are going to be our wings. So I'm going to cut right down the middle so that I have 2 separate pieces. And next I'm going to take a pen to draw kind of an outline for the wings. Now, you might notice that your wings might be different sizes depending on the type of pop bottle that you use. For example, I used a squirt pop bottle, and they have a smaller, not as long top here as a Coke bottle does. So my wings are going to be a little bit smaller than, say, if I would have used a Coca-Cola bottle. Okay, so to draw my outline, I'm just going to grab a pen. Any pen that you have will work. And where it curves at the top, that's going to be the skinny portion of where the wing begins. So I'll draw it and then I'll show you an example. Now, something to note is you can make your wings really any size or shape that you want. And then you can outline your second one over your first one, just so that they're roughly the same size. And the good thing is, if you make a mistake and you make it too small, just draw it a little bit bigger. These are going to be painted, so the paint will cover up the pen marks. Okay, so I have my first wing outline. You can kind of see it's kind of hard to tell, but it starts at the bottom and it curves around. And I'm going to take my second wing and stick it over just so I have kind of an outline so that they're, you know, somewhat matching. Okay, so now I have my two wings outlined. You can kind of see the pen marks. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and cut around my outline. All right, so here you can see my cutout shapes, and you'll be able to see them a little bit better once they're painted, because with them being clear, it's kind of hard to decipher, but you can kind of see the outline shape. And they're roughly the same size because I did try to use one as an outline over the other. It's quite helpful. Okay, so now that I have my wings cut, I'm going to start the painting process. So just to make sure that there isn't any paint that's getting on any of your tables or anything, you might want to grab a plate or a paper towel just to put underneath the items that you're going to be painting. So the color that I have for my ladybug is a pink. And then instead of using black, I have a brown paint, so I'm going to use brown for the black portions of the ladybug. So the thing that you're going to want to do is paint the bottom portion around here, your black color. Then the center is going to be your color. So mine is pink, some may have yellow, some might have red, and some might have purple. And then I'm also going to paint the top portion around here, my brown or black color as well. So as we're painting, a couple things to notice is that once you do your first layer, you might notice that it's a little bit clear still. You can still see inside of the bottle. So you might want to let everything dry and then do a second coat. Another thing to take note of is I'm doing this freehand. I'm not using any tape to separate the different colors that I'm using. You are welcome to use tape if you want to, just to kind of make it a cleaner cut, but I'm just going to kind of eye it and see if I need to do any touch-ups afterwards, but that is an optional choice. Okay, so now that we have our flower pot painted, you can see I have the pink and then I have my darker brown or black around the top and the bottom. Next, we're going to paint our wings. Now remember, I said that depending on the pop bottle that you have, whether it's a Coke pop bottle or say, for example, a Ruby Red Squirt pop bottle, the wing size might be a little bit different. Because I used a squirt pop bottle, the wings are a bit smaller. We do have this large piece here still. Now you can make some larger wings out of this if you'd like. However, you do need to leave enough of this plastic to use for the feelers that are going to be coming out of the head. So I'm just going to cut some of this right now just to make sure that I have enough for the feeler. But if you want to use some of this for your wings, you're more than welcome to. I, though, am going to stick with my small wings, and I'm going to paint them my pink color. Okay, so in addition to painting my wings pink, I'm also going to be painting the bottle cap. I'm going to be painting this brown, or in your case, you might be painting it black. And then I'm also going to cut and paint my feeler. So I'm going to take this small piece that I cut earlier, and I'm going to cut it into strips, just 2 strips. We're going to have 2 feelers, just like this. And then I'm going to paint these before I start to crinkle them. So it's going to be easier to have them all painted prior to forming them and shaping them. So again, I'm going to be painting my bottle cap brown, or in your case, black. And then these as well are going to be brown. Or in your case, these will be black as well. Okay, so now that we have everything painted, we have our wings painted with our spots on them, and then we have the bottle cap painted, and then we also have the feelers painted. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to roll the feelers just to kind of give them a little curved look. So I'm going to start at the end of one and just start rolling and kind of pinching it to make it stay. You might have to do this a little bit just to make sure that it is secure. And it's okay, they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be the same size specifically, but just kind of giving it that nice curved look. There's one of mine. And I'm going to do the same thing to the second. And you can curve it any way that you'd like. If you'd like them facing in or out, you can shape it any way that you'd like. Okay, so now that I have my feelers twisted and rolled in the way that I would like, I'm going to stick them together kind of like this, and then I'm going to figure out which side of my pot I want to be the front. And because the top portion right here is a little bit squirrely, it has some cuts right there, I'm going to actually use that to put my feelers there. And then also my bottle cap, I'm going to use this next and glue it over here. So I'm going to use my stapler and situate where I want my feelers to go, and then staple them to the bottle. Okay, so now that I have my feelers stapled on, you can see they're really cute, kind of right in the center. Next is where the glue part comes in. So I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I have my painted bottle cap top. I'm going to put glue around the outside rim, because you're going to put your bottle cap right in the center of where your feelers are. And what's cool is that it'll go right over the staples, so it'll hide the staples. So I'm going to put glue around the edge of the bottle cap. And you know, the gluing process, it'll take a little bit for it to dry. And you're going to want to make sure that you press down on it and hold it against it for long enough to help it to adhere. So I'm going to I put the glue around the outside rim of the bottle cap. I'm going to stick it right over the center area, and then I'm going to hold it down. Now, the glue that was provided in the craft kits that will dry clear. So it's okay if you have a little bit of the glue on the bottom, totally fine, but you're definitely going to want to hold it for at least a minute, even longer. If you feel that when you start to pull it away that it's starting to come off with it, just keep holding it for a little bit. And then once you hold it for long enough, still let it dry a little bit. Okay, so now that we have our bottle cap right in the middle, it's pasted over our feelers, also known as antennas. Now we're going to put the wings on. Now remember I said that my wings turned out to be a little bit smaller based on the ruby red squirt bottle that I used, as opposed to maybe someone who's using a Coke bottle. But remember also that we had this extra plastic that we had cut along the side, some pieces to use for the feelers. Remember how I mentioned that you could also use this to cut out bigger wings if you wanted bigger wings. So I did that too, just as an example. So we have here an example of one of the smaller wings versus one of the bigger wings. And remember, I did this all with just one pop bottle. So if you want to have the choice between having smaller wings or bigger wings, you definitely can. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like with the bigger wings. So what I was going to do is use my glue once again and put glue right on the outside edge of that small area of the wing and slip it right kind of underneath where the bottle cap is. Now you can choose to have your wings going down, or you can choose to have them going up, whichever way that you'd like. I'm going to choose to have them going down. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of my wing before sticking it into the bottle cap area. So just putting some glue right there, as you can see. And then again, you're going to need to hold it in place for a little bit to make sure that it's secure. But I stick it in right under my bottle cap, because even though we glued the bottle cap in place, it still has a little bit of wiggle room. And so you can feel free to put your wings underneath the bottle cap, or if you want to put them beside. Now remember, you can also use your stapler if you'd rather do that other than glue, up to you. But I'm going to hold this in place for a little bit and then do the same thing to the other side with my other wing. Okay, so there you have it. We have our wings in place. We have a cute ladybug that is ready to house one of your plants. And it's such a fun, easy craft, easy to do with supplies that you have at home, and just a fun, creative way to embrace, the great outdoors, having a nice ladybug plant pot for your home. So thank you so much for joining us for this Hackley craft. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope you had fun with it. Make sure to visit hackleylibrary.org or Hackley Library's Facebook page for upcoming crafts and also just for upcoming programs in general. We have a really great financial seminar that's going to be happening tomorrow evening, and it's going to be online, and you can actually still sign up for that. It's free. Again, feel free to visit hackleylibrary.org or the Facebook page for details, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining us.